Hello guys, welcome back. My name is Omkar, co-founder at the QUILL HOUSE, and I'll be your host for today. Our guest for today is Dr ANUSHRITA. She's a PhD in life science and a certified parenting coach. She has started her journey in 2019, and during this time, she has guided more than 300 parents. So let's have a chat with her. Hi ANUSHRITA.
Hello, Omkar. Good to have you here. And I'm very excited for this interview and looking forward for an interesting one. I
Yeah,
keep my talks and conversations very interactive. So I would love to talk to you on any kind of thing you want to ask.
great.
Shoot.
So starting off, tell me more about yourself and how did you connect with the QUILL HOUSE?
Yes, I'll give a very brief introduction of mine. I'm Dr. ANUSHRITA. I'm a PhD in life sciences from NIMR. That's an Indian Council of Medical Research body. I am also the president of Wiki Delhi Child Care Council, wherein we help children from various backgrounds through different activities and initiatives like workshops. We reach out to them. We want children to grow holistically. That's the whole idea. And that's how I also formed Mindful Parenting Hub, where we help people dealing with various parenting challenges and focus on the early brain development. My inspiration are Dr. APJ Kalam and Professor Howard Gardner, who proposed the theory of multiple intelligences. I'm a proud mother of a 4-year-old daughter, and painting, reading, writing, and sometimes baking are my favorite pastimes. And now, very proudly, I am also an author of Awaken, the Mindful Parent.
Right. So yeah, tell me more
And
about this book that you have told.
yeah. The second part, how I reached the QUILL HOUSE.
Yeah.
There's a published author from the QUILL HOUSE, is a colleague and a very dear friend. She recommended, and she was very happy with the services. So I thought maybe why not.
Oh, great. That's great. So you talked about a book. Tell me more about this book, the Awaken or Mindful Parent.
Yeah, so Omkar, it's actually it's very close to my heart. So I tend to go beyond words, but I would try to cut it short and try to focus on the main goal. That when I am, since a working mother, it was very difficult for me to find a balance. Like people used to say, you should have a work-life balance, and otherwise you will find it very difficult to be happy with your work and life. So it's all heard. Once you start facing those challenges, you truly understand and also unleash your potential, that you can do this also, you can do that also. There are two things which might happen. One, you give up, or you feel like, oh no, this is the time where I can push myself a little more. And then you start finding solutions. So while facing these challenges as a working mother, I started observing myself, what all I can do, how can I cope up with my work pressure at the same time, be a good mother. And then I started practicing mindfulness. I tried several other things, I tried my meditation, sitting for, half an hour, and then half an hour in shifts and other things. It does help, but to a certain extent. Mindfulness was one technique that really helped me, juggling between things. And then I started saying no to what I couldn't do. Earlier, it was very difficult for me to say no and set boundaries. So these are some very good techniques which mindfulness teaches you, and you can implement in your life to have certain balance in your work and personal life as well.
What, according to you, is the first step towards mindfulness?
Well, the first step is realizing that there is, a need to intervention. There is a problem. There is something which needs to be taken care of. If you're not even aware, if you're not even observing, you will not realize that, we should be aware. We should live in this moment. We should enjoy this moment. If anything is happening, what changes do I see these days is, even though people are sitting in a meeting or a party, even then they are constantly on their phones. So I'm not saying that don't use phone at all. Phone is for your convenience. It should not become a mandate for your life.
Right.
So living in the moment is when you are there for an activity or a party or a gathering, live in that moment first. So when you start living in the moment first, you start observing more, and then you are more present in that,
Right.
but in that moment, and you enjoy more. So that also happens with the parenting. So suppose you're working and you're so occupied with your thoughts or your stress that when your child needs your attention, even if it's 5 minutes, be there for those 5 minutes completely. So that is what I believe is very important.
Right. So during this pandemic, like COVID-19 has had a huge impact on everyone's life.
Definitely.
So how has it affected a parent? Like you have guided more than 300 parents. So
Yes.
like they come up to you. So how has COVID-19 impacted a parent according to you?
Well, I found that there were two sets of parents.
Okay.
One were really happy that they were looking for these times, specific times, those me times, those family times, and they were not able to figure out how to do, because most of the times they were traveling. Since you are in Delhi, you are aware, half of the day goes into traveling, like 3 hours of to and fro, and it varies person to person. So they found that time with the family. They were very happy with this setting. On the other hand, there were a set of parents. They were like, no, it's not working for me. Work from home is really a curse for me, because every now and then the child is disturbing, or we're not able to find a me time, and certain challenges. So it was very subjective. But if I majorly divide into two groups, one one group was very happy. The second group was a little upset. So
Second half of the parents. What are the key takeaways in the book that the an awakening of a mindful parent?
yeah, so first of all, address the problem. If there is a problem, you have to address it. Recognize it first, identify it first, and address it first. Once you start addressing it, you will know to find out a solution. Okay. If in your mind you don't see it as a problem, you would not look for solution, right? But if you know that there is a problem and I need some tools and tricks to handle it, see what happens is, for a professional setup, we are always trained. Our
Right.
left side of the brain is always trained. Go read and write, remember or memorize facts and figures. When you go for a presentation, this is how you should wear, this is how you should stand, this is how you should talk. We are trained for these things, but nobody trains us how to be a good parent, how to
Right.
control our emotions. At least start first of all observing what happens within you when something triggers you. What are your triggers? These things you should start observing, and then only you would be able to work on your things. And this is the first step you should start.
Okay. So what does a normal day at work look for you? Like, what is it? How do you start your day?
Well,
How
it
do you end it?
varies.
Okay.
It varies because sometimes I have help. So that day is a little, lean. I can focus on other things. When there is no help, which I believe in Corona, many parents were facing, that no house help was there. So they start with the breakfast. If the child has to sit for an online class, then I have to, shift a meeting or anything after my child's online classes,
Yeah.
or somewhere early morning. This is the adjustment. And then throughout the day I have to keep into chunks. So I work for 1 hour, and then I focus on the child's need. Then I again work for 2 or 3 hours, and then I again get back to the child.
Okay.
But I live in a joint family, so I have a little support there.
Right.
So it's a little easier for me to manage. Parents especially, who did not have any family support, or they were living away from their families, for instance, so they found it really difficult during Corona to manage work and life.
Yeah.
So yeah, so during the day, this is how I manage, and by the evening I make sure that I take my child out for a walk or get into some physical activity. Then when she sleeps, I again start working on my own thing. So I do not have a specific 9 to 5 time. Whenever I have scheduled as per the child, as I say, that you cannot have specific 9 to 5 unless
Yeah.
and until you're going to office and you're leaving the
Correct.
child behind. So
Correct.
when you're doing everything from home, you have to manage this way, perhaps.
Right. So you talked about family playing a very important part. Yeah. So
Yes.
how have they supported you in this journey, like overall, not just in the pandemic, overall from the start?
Oh, definitely. They have been a great support for me whenever, as a parent, nobody, even if I'm a coach, I cannot say that I know everything about parenting because,
Right.
as I said, that nobody teaches us how to be a good parent.
Correct.
People do teach us to be a good person, but that too morally, not formally. But as a good parent, this is how we have been learning from our parents around, how they have been grooming us, how they have been nurturing us. So
Right.
one, there is a moral support, because in the time of a crisis when my brain is stuck, even though I know the answers, I'm not able to implement, I can look up to them and then model that behavior. That was one. And then second was the physical support. So for
Right.
instance, right now I am sitting here for a meeting, for an interview, but my
Correct.
child is being taken care of. So that's a very, good moral support, a relief
Yeah.
that secretes happy hormones, and
Yeah. There is a sense of
definitely it
calm.
works.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely it's very peaceful because eventually it's a very emotional thing to have a child. And if the child is in stress, or they are not being taken care of, you can never be at mental peace, no matter how hard you try.
That's right.
So family has definitely been a very great support for me throughout.
Yeah, that's great. So you talked about inspiration, like Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was your inspiration. For this book,
Yes.
what is your inspiration channel behind this book?
uh, uh, the biggest inspiration, so it's like a very collective thing. When I was
Okay.
a child, I
Yeah.
used to listen to such things, such examples from my parents. Look, her parent was so dedicated, her father was so well to do, that's why she modeled him as her own, idol and all. So
Right.
I realized very early that parenting does matter. And I had seen, there was my father's friend who was a qualified surgeon, and he used to do very long surgeries for like 48 hours and so. But even then, when he would come back, he would sit with his children and make sure that he checks all their homeworks, and if they have any problem, he would be there for them to solve those problems. So
Right.
I would take those examples as an ideal, that wow, I mean, like, there's so many parents who don't even realize that their presence is so important, and then conveying it in the right manner. So
Right.
maybe many parents want to be involved with the children, but they don't know how to connect. They always create a rift between themselves and the children, just because they
Right.
don't know how to communicate the right way.
Right.
So that's very important. And these inspirations, then Dr. Kalam's story, if you have
Yeah.
read some of his books, you would know that when he wanted to go out of his village and wanted to do something in his life, his mother was not ready. So what his father said, that was a big lesson for me. So he said that, never think that children come in this world because of you. He told this to his wife. They come in this world through you, so you should accept them as an individual.
Correct.
Don't force your thoughts and your opinions on them, and let them be what they want to be. Let them nurture, let them be naturally evolving from
Right.
wherever they have born at. So
Correct.
this, and then a lot of other, like my mother's side has a big family. So
Okay.
we used to compare, see and compare, like, okay, mamaji does this, or my uncle does that, how are
Right.
their children doing, how does his parenting helping him, their children, or not impacting them in the right way to be a good person, or whatever the society says a successful person. So
Correct.
this comparison started quite early. When I started my career, I started as a teacher and a mentor. I used to coach and mentor a lot of parents how to motivate children to deal with their challenges and during studies, and how you can be patient and calm with them. So that was not a formal coaching, but I used to do it informally.
Right.
And parenting did help a lot of children. So I was pretty sure that if you are in a compassionate environment where parents are very welcoming, they have a lot of warmth and acceptance for whatever you are, you can easily live a happy life. You don't need
Right.
big buildings or luxury cars only to be happy. That
Right.
is, of course, that will make one happy, but that
Sure.
is not the only criteria to be happy.
Correct. So you talked about these inspirations. So in the book, Awaken a Mindful Parent, there are many, sorry, I'll frame it again. Yeah, you talked about the support that you got and the inspiration that you got. There are people, there are parents who compare their child to others' success, like a person is succeeding or he is doing great in studies or sports. They compare their own child to that child. So, in your book, Awaken a Mindful Parent, what is the one key feature to tell them?
Well, so I have put this topic very
Yeah,
precisely that, success is very subjective. The definition is very subjective.
right,
But at the same time, what you should understand as a parent is, first of all, a person is made of, it's a combination of the genes and the environment,
correct,
right? So genes you can't control, but environment you can definitely provide. And there are a lot of examples wherein the environment had overpowered the genes, and the people who had like very humbling background, they still did very well in their lives in
right,
terms of those material success. But first of all, as a parent, define your goal. Do you want your child to be successful on the parameters you had decided or the society has decided, or you just want your child to be happy with whatever they are doing? If
right,
you are set, if you're clear in your goals in the mind, I don't think so you will have much of a problem.
right. Um,
So you will not compare your child to others, because you know that whatever your child is doing, they have
right,
their own goals, they have their own success ladder to climb, and they're happy with whatever they are pursuing.
correct. So, when is this book, Awaken a Mindful Parent, going to go public?
Well, that question is supposed to be asked by the Quill House. They have taken the
Right.
responsibility to publish. But
So,
yeah, most probably within a week, it will be available on Amazon.
okay. So, let's begin with the rapid fire questions.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So, what is mindfulness in one word according to you?
Cognizant,
Okay. One word that describes you.
meticulous,
An author you look up to.
Dr. Brian Weiss.
Okay. If books could talk, what would they say to a person?
Please finish me completely.
Okay.
Don't leave me in midway.
Right. So, do reviews affect you, and if so, how?
Well, reviews, I wouldn't say affect me, but I value reviews,
Right.
because if there's a positive review, it motivates you to write more and to reach out to more people.
Correct.
And if it's a negative review, that gives you an insight and work upons, wherein when I come with my next book, I will have a refined version of books. So
Right.
reviews, I do value reviews always. Positive or negative doesn't matter.
Great. That was nice talking to you, basically.
Same
Yeah.
here, Omkar. It was a pleasure having you here.